Let's get some analysis on all of this with Akiva Elda from Tel Aviv. He's a political analyst and a contributor to Haaretz newspaper. Akiva, good to have you on this news hour. These demonstrations that we are seeing seem to be taking on a life of their own, and anti-Netanyahu protests aren't uncommon. We saw them with the judicial reforms before October 7th. But could these demonstrations actually force Netanyahu to step down or for Israel to hold early elections?
I think that you have to give a very deep look, not to Netanyahu's moves, but to his allies from the center-right, Benny Gantz and Gadi Eisenkot. As long as they are willing to sit next to him and to take the responsibility for the negligence and the lack of coherent policy the day after, what is the exit strategy? What are the priorities? Are the hostages on top of their agenda? The domino process, falling the cards down, will start, and the countdown for the elections only after Gantz and his colleagues from the center party will decide that enough is enough, and they will step down. And after that, perhaps few members of the Likud who lost faith in Netanyahu will join them. Gideon Saar, who moved to the center from the Likud, left last week because he said that he cannot share the responsibility. Maybe this was the first dice that fell down from Netanyahu's wall, and perhaps the pressure that is coming from the grassroots. Because, Yasmin, this is unprecedented, that Israel is conducting a war, and at the same time people are demonstrating against the government, while maybe their sons or their fathers are still in Gaza, risking their lives from the country, for the country.
Akiva, though, are Israelis united in their calls for Netanyahu to go and the hostages to be free? But then when it comes to the war, how do they feel? Do they still support Israel's actions that have been labeled genocidal by large parts of the world? What is that sentiment among Israeli society?
Well, I can tell you, I was there last night. I went on a bus that took, to reach Jerusalem from Tel Aviv, it's 65 kilometers. It took us 2.5 hours because there were hundreds of buses. But actually, I didn't see any slogans that are demanding the government to stop the escalation, to stop the starvation. The only newspaper is, and I'm very proud to contribute to it, is Haaretz. The Israeli public opinion and the media is focusing on the victimhood of Israel. We are still in October 7th. We are not looking forward 6 months later. How do we stop this massacre in Gaza? And at the same time, how can we prevent a next October 7th? How do we put an end to the occupation? I just published an article. I think this is my most radical article I ever wrote. I was calling to boycott Israel and not to invite Israel to the Olympic Games in Paris under the Israeli flag. And I will get, of course, a lot of hate mail because I am a very lonely voice in the Israeli media. And I am an Israeli. I'm an Israeli patriot. And I think that Netanyahu is taking us to the abyss.
But Akiva, as you say, you are the minority in Israel calling for an end to the war in Gaza. The majority still support what they believe is the elimination of Hamas, but of course we know it's resulted in close to 33,000 civilians being killed there. I'm wondering, how do Israelis feel about the international view of their country and the criticism that's growing louder, especially over the last few weeks when we've seen famine in northern parts of Gaza and Israel being taken to the ICJ, when even Israel's biggest supporter, the United States, has says, stop, don't go into Rafah, think of the civilians. What is that like amongst Israeli society? Are they concerned about that? Or do they feel, well, we're still getting weapons from the West, we're still getting money, we can continue?
Well, this is in a good day. In a bad day, they would blame the international community, the UN, the International Court of Justice for hypocrisy, if not anti-Semitism. The Israelis are still in the business of a blame game. Of October 7th. They started and they should pay. This is the atmosphere, this is the climate. And in the demonstrations yesterday in Jerusalem and today, you will hear voices that will tell you that we don't trust Netanyahu and this government that will protect us from the Hamas, from the bad guys. It's not about violation of human rights. You know, Israel has been occupying the Palestinian for 57, in June it will be 57 years. And the Israeli public opinion votes again and again for the Likud and the radical right. This is the answer. And unfortunately, the American public opinion, as well as the European, is not willing to take the step to save Israel from itself. I'm very concerned. I'm an Israeli. Mm-hmm. I served in the army. My children served in the army. And my heart goes out for the Israeli captives. But I think that this government is undermining, first it was the Israeli democracy, and now the Israeli, future. Yes. It's about now the Israeli army is paying an enormous price. Today we counted the 600 soldiers in our side paid their lives for nothing, because at the end of the day we will be back to October 6th with the occupation and with no strategy how we put an end to the conflict.
Akiva Elda, really good to get your thoughts live to us there from Tel Aviv. Thank you.
Thank you.